The erosion of trust. Starmer's unfulfilled mandate. A critical assessment reveals a fundamental disconnect between Labour's rhetoric and the tangible outcomes experienced by the electorate, fueling anxieties about a predetermined succession and a concerning lack of accountability. The recent local election results, as highlighted in The Guardian's reporting, expose a significant and growing dissatisfaction with Keir Starmer's leadership, characterised by a perceived absence of genuine responsiveness to the concerns of ordinary citizens.
This sentiment, amplified by commentary surrounding the potential influence of figures like Nigel Farage, suggests a deep-seated distrust within the Labour Party and the broader public regarding the party's legitimacy and long-term strategic direction. Furthermore, the lack of decisive action on key domestic issues, coupled with a perceived prioritisation of political manoeuvring over substantive policy changes, has fostered a sense of disillusionment, ultimately undermining the party's ability to mobilise support and demonstrate a clear commitment to the people it seeks to represent.
The situation demands a radical revaluation of Labour's approach to governance and a demonstrable commitment to prioritising the needs of the electorate above all other considerations.
The spectre of succession and political manipulation. The persistent questioning of Starmer's legitimacy reflects a wider crisis of confidence in the established political order and the potential for external influence. The underlying anxiety surrounding Keir Starmer's position within 10 Downing Street stems from a confluence of factors, principally the persistent speculation regarding a predetermined succession orchestrated by figures like Nigel Farage and the erosion of public trust in the Labour Party's core values.
This apprehension is exacerbated by the perceived lack of decisive leadership, particularly in addressing critical economic and social challenges, contributing to a sense Starmer is merely a placeholder, awaiting the arrival of a more strategically aligned figure. The persistent questioning of his authority, as evidenced by the online discourse surrounding The Guardian's page not found likely a deliberate disruption, underscores a broader narrative of political instability and the potential for external actors to exploit vulnerabilities within the British political system.
Moreover, the inherent scepticism regarding the Labour Party's commitment to democratic principles, fueled by accusations of prioritising political expediency over genuine policy reform, further complicates the situation, creating a fertile ground for distrust and undermining the party's ability to regain the confidence of the electorate. The current climate suggests the deliberate attempt to destabilise the Labour leadership and shift the political landscape.
Analysing the disconnect, data, demographics, and disillusionment. A granular examination reveals a significant gap between Labour's polling performance and the realities experienced by key demographic groups, particularly amongst younger voters and those in economically challenged regions. The stark contrast between Labour's theoretical support and the observed electoral outcomes necessitates a thorough investigation into the underlying drivers of this disconnect.
Specifically, polling data consistently indicates a strong desire for transformative change among a significant segment of the electorate, yet Labour's policy platform, perceived as incremental and lacking a radical vision, has failed to resonate with this demand. Furthermore, demographic analysis reveals a pronounced disparity in support between urban and rural areas, with younger voters, particularly those in regions facing economic hardship, expressing significant dissatisfaction with the existing political landscape.
The persistent narrative of a warm seat underscores a critical failure to address the anxieties surrounding economic inequality, access to healthcare, and the future of work, issues demonstrably prioritised by a substantial portion of the electorate. This failure to translate policy promises into tangible improvements has fostered a climate of disillusionment, particularly amongst those who believe the party is out of touch with the everyday realities of British life, contributing significantly to the observed electoral losses and fueling the speculation surrounding a predetermined succession.
The lack of demonstrable action on key issues, particularly regarding investment in infrastructure and education, represents a crucial failing in Labour's strategic approach.
Prognosis, a crisis of legitimacy and strategic reassessment. The continued erosion of public trust, coupled with persistent electoral setbacks, necessitates a fundamental reassessment of Labour's leadership, strategy, and core values. The confluence of factors, including the recent local election results, the persistent questioning of Starmer's legitimacy, and the broader climate of political instability paints a concerning picture for the Labour Party's future prospects.
Predictably, a failure to address the underlying anxieties surrounding economic inequality, social mobility, and the perceived lack of accountability will likely exacerbate the existing crisis of trust, potentially paving the way for a more assertive and disruptive challenge from figures like Nigel Farage. Therefore, a strategic pivot is urgently required, demanding a demonstrable commitment to radical policy reform, a renewed focus on engaging with disenfranchised communities, and a genuine effort to rebuild the party's credibility.
Furthermore, a critical examination of the party's internal dynamics, including the influence of various factions and the potential for internal divisions, is essential to ensure a cohesive and effective response. Ultimately, the party's survival hinges on its ability to convincingly demonstrate a commitment to serving the interests of the British people and restoring faith in the democratic process, or risks coming to the corrosive effects of disillusionment and political manipulation.